The film starts with an intimate scene between a couple in a water channel room. The moment doesn't last long, as the man suddenly stops his actions. Feeling irritated by his partner's behavior, the woman hurriedly leaves the place. It turns out that they were just two strangers who didn't know each other. The man's name is Igor, a plumber who is working at an office. After work, Igor takes his wife Flora to the cinema. Actually, Igor is starting to feel bored in the marriage without a presence of a child. However, he still tries to appear happy in front of his long-married wife. Flora is a good woman and a hard worker. To help her husband's meager income, she is willing to work as a housemaid, and also runs a laundry business. Her earnings are often borrowed by Igor to cover their daily needs. Who is the woman who was intimate with Igor at the beginning of the film? She is Pina, an office girl at the office where Igor was fixing the water channel. Besides working, Pina is busy taking care of her only child named Lorenzo. Having divorced her ex-husband, Pina, who has custody of the child, plays a role as a single parent. During lunch, Igor and Pina accidentally meet again in the office canteen. Pina's behavior, deliberately revealing the inside of her skirt, is clearly understood by Igor that the woman wants to get intimate soon. However, when they are alone, Igor again dampens Pina's passion by admitting that he already has a wife. On one occasion, Pina asked her son if she could have a male friend. Lorenzo, who is beginning to understand the special relationship between men and women, seems to disapprove of his mother's desire. Meanwhile, Flora's invitation to be intimate is rejected once again by Igor, due to being tired from work. It's a different story when the one inviting is Pina. Regardless of the place, Igor is always enthusiastic in serving the woman. Eventually, Igor and Pina decided to check into a hotel to have more freedom in their love affair. But just as she steps out of the house, Pina is called by Lorenzo, seemingly forcing her to come home. With her persuasive charm, Pina manages to persuade Igor to check in again the following night. But after waiting for quite some time, Igor doesn't show up because he has an impromptu date with Flora. In her office's water channel room, Pina realized that Igor's job was finished, and she felt sad, thinking she might not be able to meet the man again. While her affair is feeling down, Igor seemed to have a plan by visiting a photocopy machine store. Initially, Flora enthusiastically welcomed the arrival of a large box, thinking it was a washing machine to support her work. But after finding out Igor bought a photocopier using all their savings, the woman was suddenly furious. She couldn't understand why her husband bought a photocopier that didn't match their current line of work. Seeing Lorenzo's scattered toys on the bedroom floor prompted Pina to throw away the items in the trash. Lorenzo immediately became upset when he found out his beloved toys had vanished without a trace. While giving Lorenzo new toy cars, Pina promised to take her son to the park next weekend. By reading the instruction manual, Igor successfully assembled the newly purchased photocopier. Despite being upset, Flora eventually agreed to learn how to use the device. Before long, the photocopy business started operating in their small apartment. The scent of betrayal from Igor had already been sensed by Flora, who straightforwardly asked if her husband was cheating with another woman. But a man remains a man, Igor pretended as if he had done nothing wrong. Eventually, Flora decided to leave the place, and didn't come back for several days. Pina had actually tried to meet Igor at his favorite sports spot. However, since her phone call was directly rejected by Igor, Pina realized that her presence was no longer wanted. When she returned to the apartment, Flora was told by Igor that many customers were looking for their photocopying services. To mend their relationship, Igor invited his wife to have a relaxed chat at a bar. Knowing Flora for a long time, Igor knew how to soften her heart. But their relationship strained again when Igor refused Flora's invitation to go to bed. Pina, who was in a bad mood, vented her frustration by scolding Lorenzo, who was being fussy and refusing to eat. From her child's mouth came a request that he wanted to live with his father. Despite being saddened, Pina eventually granted Lorenzo's wish, considering it all for the good of the child. The next morning, dressed in a lion costume made by Pina, Lorenzo was picked up by his father using a car. With the help of a neighbor that day, Flora planned to move out of the apartment without Igor's knowledge. Feeling entitled to the photocopier her husband had bought, Flora dared to take the machine with her. Unfortunately, Flora lost her life when the machine fell on her, while she was walking down the stairs. It turns out that this event was eagerly awaited by Igor, so that he could be with Pina. With each person beside them being eliminated, Igor and Pina could freely indulge in their intimacy, whenever and wherever they pleased. The film ends with the scene of a new family being formed over a tragedy. If you like the recap, please hit the subscribe button.